This time, the Geordie hands over control, as the Gragok explains how she managed to run a full-blown career from a caravan. There's talk of connectivity, screens, and the realities of working alongside a retired partner, and a look at where all of this might be heading next.
So we're back on the road, heading east this time towards Gippsland, where we're from, I suppose.
Yes.
We spent the last 6.5 weeks in WA. During that time, we've been visiting friends and family. Janice has been continuing to work. So this really is a video about her and what it's like to work on the road from a caravan. I think that's kind of what we're going to talk about.
Yes,
right?
I think so. I believe you have some questions to ask me.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
The first question, because I love this bit, is all the tech that you use for your work setup.
Okay. So, well, it was a bit of a learning journey, to be fair. I did a lot of research. I tried to do a lot of research on YouTube about how I would work from a caravan. And there isn't a lot out there. You know, what happens when someone like me who works for a big corporate wants to work on the road? Firstly, getting the tech right was pretty important. I went and, my company provides me with a laptop anyway, and they provide me with noise cancelling headphones, which is great. But for me to move from working in a home office to working in the caravan required some thinking. Firstly, how would I get internet wherever I went? And the immediate and easiest answer was Starlink.
It's fair to say that whilst we do have 5G on our phones and we can tether from those,
yes,
Australia has a fabulous network compared with some of the countries we visited. One of the countries I grew up in.
Yes.
However, it's not as reliable as it needs to be when you're going to work from it.
No, and also when you're in country like this, where we're in the middle of nowhere, Starlink actually works better in remote areas such as this than it does in the major cities, because it gets a clear view of the sky. There's not many people competing for the network. So Starlink's really reliable. We have not had one place in our whole drive across the Nullarbor where we have not managed to get Wi-Fi. So that was number one. That was really important. I also went on Amazon and I looked up various monitors. So I got a 15-inch monitor, slightly over 15 inches. It has a fold-out stand, and so we'll drop a picture of it here. And it's very clever. So big screen. I use 2 big screens at home in my home office, so I was going to find it really hard only using my laptop to do some of my work. So this one daisy chains. It daisy chains USB-C to USB-C into my laptop, powers it up, projects the screen. You can extend the screen. It is fantastic. And it means that I have my laptop and a big screen to work from when I'm in the caravan, so I don't really feel like I'm missing out on that visual real estate. One thing I will say is test your setup.
Yeah.
Test your setup.
We thought we had.
We thought we had. But when I was trying to work from the caravan when it was sitting in our driveway at home, I realized one thing, and that is, unless I couldn't power my caravan up, I couldn't power my laptop up unless it was connected to 240 volt. Even though it has USB-C ports in the caravan, it didn't put out enough power to power my laptop.
About 20 USB ports in our caravan.
In our caravan. Cannot, because it doesn't push out enough power to power a laptop.
And they're all right to charge phones.
Yes.
But actually they don't charge iPads.
No.
So it's that milliamp or whatever it is called difference.
So I did a little bit of research and I found something called a YARE, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's spelled YARE, and I got it from yare.com.au, and it's a step-up USB port. USB-A and USB-C. It's round. Stuart will drop a picture here. And I bought it, had it sent to me. It is a step-up 12 volt and puts out 100 watts out of, and it comes in different wattages, but I chose the 100 watt one. It charges my laptop as well as powers the monitor, and I can charge my phone on the USB-C.
All at the same time.
USB-A at the same time. So,
and importantly, you don't have to turn the inverter on in the caravan to use it.
That's right. That's right. And that's a huge plus when you're off-grid especially. So, YARE, and thank you to Award RV in Ferntree Gully in Melbourne. They installed that for me, as well as some other things like a diesel heater and a dust reduction system. So that's turned out to be probably one of the best things that we got. Yeah.
So that covers your hardware setup.
Yes.
I'm amazed at this auxiliary screen you've got. Not really because of the size, but because of the thinness. It's so thin, so easy to store.
Yeah.
And it came with this little bag, didn't it, that goes in?
A little padded bag. So you slide it in, it protects it, perfect for traveling.
From a guy from the late 60s who was born into the world of tellies that were like that wide, to get something that wide, it's just amazing. So I think that covers the connectivity stuff as well as the tech stuff, because you talked about Starlink, or is there anything else on the connectivity side?
I think we learned something when we were in Perth, and that is if you reliably want to work with Starlink, it needs to see the whole sky.
Yeah.
So when we were in a crowded caravan park and speeds were dropping, we were trying to figure out, how do we get better speeds? How do we make sure when we looked at the obstructions, our caravan was blocking some of it because it wasn't high enough.
Well, we thought originally we could hang it. I don't know what those suction cups were that you got
the suction cups off the hatch,
off the see-through hatch at night. We thought we could just put it on there, and to be fair, the telly works fine like that.
Yes,
but it wasn't fast enough to work with.
Not to work with. I need much higher speeds to run video, etc. So we were at a caravan park in Mount Rishon, and we saw next to us these people had this pole on their airframe, on their drawbar, that pushed their Starlink all the way above their caravan. It was from BBQARM. That clips onto your airframe. You then could buy a polycarbonate pole to go with it. That pushes it up above your caravan. So
it's so easy to line up, so easy to use.
Yeah, so a bit costly. Cost us a bit, about $500 or something.
Yeah, I think that's probably though for the pole, because the pole's made out of carbon fibre. So.
Yes, so it actually worked so well. The other problem we had
was power.
So
once you've decided that you need to move your Starlink dish outside, it's not really a dish, is it? But that's what I call them. You need power for it. Now, the original solution for me was I ran. It's actually on the back of the ute, and we just run it through a power bank, acting a bit like a UPS, so it's always on. That didn't work, obviously, with the front of the caravan, so I ended up running from the 240 outlet in the caravan, across through a extension lead to the front of the caravan. That worked great till it rained, of course. Couldn't have all the 240 volts getting wet, so I tried to put that in the toolbox. Oh, this goes on. Anyway, my fabulous, intriguing, intelligent wife went one day, Stuart, there's an Anderson plug at the front of the caravan. I went, yeah, we use it for the blackjack. And then she went, ta-da!
Yes,
but I don't know what ta-da is called. But
it's
ta-da.
a Starlink. It's a Starlink power cord that plugs into your Anderson plug, and it's waterproof.
It's waterproof, yes.
And because we have an Anderson plug in our drawbar for the blackjack that we have, we can now power Starlink off that.
So literally, when we, I was going to say moor up.
Yeah,
literally when we set camp, I put the pole up, align the Starlink, plug it into the Anderson plug at the front, and that's it. We don't think about it anymore.
No.
My biggest fear these days is we'll just start towing and the thing will still be that's cheap.
So easy, waterproof, powers it up, has it above the caravan, and it's given me really reliable work.
I'll put a little picture link thing of that thing because that's kind of invaluable in the whole setup. Such a small part of the setup.
Yes, but it made such a difference.
So much easier than getting somebody to drill a hole in the side of your van and fit the 12-amp socket.
Yeah, didn't have to do any of it.
12-volt socket. Not that.
Very, very clever.
So this next question from me is about switching off.
Switching off?
Yeah, so at home when you're doing your thing, which is most of the day is in our own office behind a closed door. Obviously, you don't have the closed door in the caravan, and I'm trying my best to be quiet. I'm trying not to, open the fridge or come out the bathroom fully naked and be on camera. So, how do you switch off at the end of the day? What's the differences between switching off working in the caravan and switching off, obviously, working at home?
I think it's just I just think it's different. When I'm at home, I've got my own home office. It's true. When I finish work, I close the door, I come out into our living area, and the day's over. And it's a nice, boundary between work and home. It's more blended in a caravan. I look out the window and I see a different sight. Every time we move, I see birds, I see children playing. Those are things I don't get to see when I'm working from home. It also means that if I have half an hour between meetings, which isn't often, but I did when we were in Tailem Bend, and I could sneak out and sit in my camp chair or overlook the Murray River and feel completely like I was working but also on holiday, and you don't get that. So switching off is not as binary as this is work and this is home life. You get to have a little bit more of a blend, I guess, of those two things. The bigger challenge really is it is generally a smaller space. It is a smaller, we're both trying to live in the equivalent of half of my home office.
And you are lucky because you've got an office at home. A lot of people, of course, are working in apartments and stuff, and they probably have the same,
dynamic.
Same dynamic where the whole room just becomes work rather than it becoming work. Turn everything off at the end of the day and then have the option of shutting the door and going back to life outside work.
Yeah, we found that in COVID, didn't we? That having that delineation was really important. You don't get that in the caravan. You don't get to do that, but you get other things. So, you win some, you lose something.
Don't know if anyone's noticed on the channel, but I'm retired. And I wondered, from my wife's perspective, because she's continuing to work, enjoying her job, what are some of those challenges that we get, I suppose, as a couple, because I'm not working, you're working?
Well, from my perspective, I think the challenge for me is that you're where I am. So I have some really great noise cancelling headphones, but you can't really hide from the fact that Stuart might be going to the toilet or might be going into the fridge to get the food out. When he gets food ready for me, you can see his hands, across my screens. So for me, that's tough. I think the fact that it's a very small space compared to being in the cafe seating, it is a small space. I take up the entire table. Stuart cannot use the table the whole time I'm there. And I don't know, I'd love to hear your perspective, because it must feel funny to you when I'm working 8-10 hour days for you to not have anything to do.
That's probably the wrong way to start this conversation, by saying I certainly know a lot more about what you do now than I used to when you're locked behind your door at home and I don't hear the conversations. I tend to spend most of the day on the bed. Hey, husbands out there, retired man living on a bed all day. realistically, that's what I've been doing, because I've been doing the YouTube video edits for this
Yes,
trip. That's
yeah.
kept me very, very busy. I find having to be quiet all the time not too much of a problem. And whilst you have the most gorgeous voice, when you hear her talking for 8 to 12 hours a day, I have resorted occasionally to putting my noise-cancelling headphones in and listening to music.
I don't blame you.
So that's I suppose that's one way that I escape. Sitting on the bed doing YouTube videos has actually been a godsend, certainly during this trip. Once I'm out of the caravan, I can pretty much do what I want. I've just got to be aware that some of the stuff makes noise. So we have an air compressor for our air suspension on the van, and occasionally I re-level the van after it settles. Of course, that makes a racket. I think me being in the van means you have to use headphones all day, where if it wasn't in the van, then you could probably use your speaker.
Yeah, I find that tough, wearing headphones 8 hours a day. That's probably my biggest gripe.
But there's certainly always something to do, whether it's going out shopping, whether it's trying to cook for you every 2 hours and make sure you're eating.
Yeah.
There's always something to do.
Yeah, but not exactly the best use of your time, is it? I mean, the thing with Stuart is that he doesn't want to go sightseeing without me. He doesn't want me to miss anything.
Yeah.
So it makes it quite difficult. I'm very lucky in that I work a 4-day compressed week. So I work Monday, Tuesdays, Thursday, Fridays. I'm off on Wednesdays. I think that if I worked 5 days in a row and Stuart had to sit there for 5 days in a row, that might be significantly tougher.
It does also obviously compress the amount of time we can actually travel. We talked originally about the fact that we'd travel Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday. Janice would work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and that would allow us to see more stuff. But actually that gets quite tiring, I think, for Janice.
Yeah.
She's forever in motion or stopped working, or in motion and stopped working. We don't actually get any downtime.
No.
So I think, that's a trade-off that we're going to have to make.
And the other side of it is, of course, Stuart has all that downtime on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays and Fridays. So by the weekends, he's itching to get out and do stuff.
Yeah, well, you actually want to relax.
At the point where I've just worked and I don't necessarily want to go hell for leather again. So, so that's been probably the biggest challenge. I'm sure I drive him mad, as you would have heard, hearing me drone on for 8 hours about things that don't necessarily interest him.
No, it's that constant,
constant noise, yeah. And
I can't put the radio on. I can't really watch the telly.
No.
So there's a lot of things that you can't do, and that's not the end of the world. I can sit watching Netflix on my laptop, my headphones in. But certainly on this proof of concept, or our first big trip, it's not actually been that much of it. It's not an inconvenience, if that makes sense. It's not, oh God, it's a work day. I can't do.
No, we've made it work. I'm very proud of how successfully we've done it. Absolutely a compromise between the person who's not working and the person who's working. There are downsides to both sides, but there's an upside to it as well. I've managed to continue my career that I wasn't quite ready to let go of. Stuart and I always planned to retire together, and the fact is, while he was done and he had a wonderful career, he was done. I, on the other hand, very much, my career started much later in life, as it happens with many women. It's only been probably the last 5 to 7 years that my career has really taken off, and I don't want to cut it short just yet. So this has been an incredible compromise. Despite the challenges, we've made it work.
This for another question. Might you drink tea first? What would you say to other professional women, who are thinking about this or might have the option to do this? Their husband may have retired, they're still enjoying the job. What advice would you give to those women in their 40s and 50s, hate to add a label, this lifestyle of caravanning, working, seeing Australia?
Well, when Stuart and I first talked about doing this, the immediate assumption we both made was we'd both have to retire. And then as we bought a caravan, we already had the plans to go, and then when
You did.
what worked through me a bit of a curveball when I was talking about doing this, where they basically said, "You're still valued. Your contribution's still valued. We don't see why you couldn't do this as well as work." That really changed for me the way I thought about how we did this, because it gave me the option of actually working while caravanning, which I know a lot of people do, but not necessarily in the kind of job I do, where I'm in senior management, I work for a big corporate. To have a company say to me, "We'll help you make it work," was huge. So if you are talking to, this is the kind of thing that appeals to you, if this is what you wanted to do, go out and see Australia and also work while you're doing it, and your company is open to it, your employer is open to it, I'm telling you now, it can be done. The fact is, most companies are really supportive when it comes to women going off and having children, men going off and having children and affording a maternity leave. But the truth is, on the other end of your career, when you're actually peaking, and women peak later in life because we had to be taking time away for children, for us to actually be able to negotiate the ability to work where we can, the way we want, and still deliver the outcomes that provide value to a company like mine, shows you that you can kind of have it all. Now, we talked about challenges earlier. Of course, there are challenges. When having it all doesn't mean that it's all smooth sailing or it's not difficult sometimes. But I'm living the retirement life I dreamed of with Stuart, while still not having to give up the work I enjoy. So if you're in my position and you're thinking about, can I do this? Hell yes, you can do this.
Absolutely.
You can do this. This is proof of concept to me. Proved that these two things are not mutually exclusive.
Not long ago, certainly in Victoria, we were all locked in our houses, all working from home.
That's it.
All we've done now is said, well, home is where the car runs out of fuel.
That's right. Home is where I can get Starlink, and I can have the equipment, the modern technology that allows me to work from anywhere. And even time zone differences haven't been a big deal.
I'm actually going to miss that when we get home.
I know.
Because I've got very used to Janice, because we're in WA and she works Victoria hours, I've got very used to Janice finishing at 3 and off we tootle to whatever we want to do for a couple of hours.
I was not happy at first because I chose to. It was my choice to work Victorian hours. So I chose that even though I was in WA, I was going to get up, start work at 6, and the first few days, my gosh, the grumbling about it. It's still dark.
You're not a morning person
I'm
anyway.
not a morning person. It's still dark. What am I doing? I got very used to finishing at 3:30, 4 o'clock at the most, when everybody else logged off in Victoria, and still having an afternoon to do stuff with you.
And elsewhere, it wasn't just Victoria. Your teams in many different regions.
Yeah,
and
that's
different time zones.
That is true. We do actually have people who are in Perth as well, and they work Perth hours, but we've never had a problem. We've always made it work, and I got very used to starting at 6 and finishing at 3, and being out and about while the shops were still open.
Whilst it was still light.
I know. I still could do stuff in the afternoon. So time zones, no problem.
When we get
Definitely no problem.
When you get back to Victoria, you'll be going into your little office in the dark, and you'll be coming out in your dark.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm going to miss working in WA. I am.
So, where do you think this is going? I know that's a bit of a open question, obviously, but do you think this is just a gap year thing? Do you think this is a lifestyle we could adopt? Do you think it's just something we haven't tried, so we thought we'd give it a go and it seemed to work in WA? That's enough now, let's stay in Victoria?
It would have been a very expensive experiment. Can I just
It would have been
say?
cheaper to fly.
Yes. I think the intention when we bought the Caravan was that we were going to do the lap. We were just I was going to retire eventually in about a year. We were going to shake the Caravan out for a year with shorter trips, but then we were going to go off and we were going to do the lap. And that changed when my company came to the party and said, you can work on the road if you want. And so we changed our plans. And what we decided to do was to do shorter trips, 2 months, 1 month, 2 months at a time. And I would work from the Caravan. But you were worried, weren't you, before this trip?
I really thought it would take the shine off the Caravan. I thought you'd just see it as your workspace and all of the fun that Caravan should be, seeing new places, having fires outside the Caravan and cooking outside and that whole Caravan life. I thought you'd just go, it's just work.
Yeah, and I was worried about that too.
Your office at home is just work.
It's just work.
There's not.
Yes.
I mean, it's a very nice work environment.
Yes.
But as soon as you walk through the door, you've got your work face on.
Yes, my work face on, and I worried about that too. My huge worry. I know you shared that with me, and I kept saying no, but I did.
It'd be fine. Yeah.
I did worry about that, and so far it hasn't proven to be true. Like I said, you have to adapt, but it does feel like a working holiday when I'm in the Caravan. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Also realizing 5 weeks in WA, my sister was working. Right? My parents weren't working, but I wasn't going to spend every minute with them. We got to do things on a Wednesday. We got to do things on the weekend with my family. But working gave me a sense of normalcy. Like I was bedded down there. I think it might be different if we were traveling often. If I was really going to work on the lab, we'd have to stay wherever we stopped for a week. And that would make it a longish lab. Because I'd have to work for 4 days of that, 1 day for sightseeing, and then travel on the weekend. I think if we were traveling often on a lap, I'd miss too much.
And not that I was listening into any of the private, confidential work stuff, but there was an element of every call starting with, so where are you today, Janice?
I know. Oh, there was so much colleague envy. Where are you? Where are you today? And this is a lifestyle that people think is incredible, and they would love to do it. So I agree with them. I don't think this is just something we're gonna do for a year. I would like to do short trips and work from the Caravan, but when we do the lap, I want to be retired. So I think we've got 2, maybe 3 years of shorter trips while I work from the van. And then...
Oh, you don't look a day over 30.
Charmer. But then the lap. So does that answer your question? I'm not giving up on it yet. I really am enjoying the lifestyle, and I can't quite believe that I'm getting to do this. I pinch myself that I'm getting to do this.
Okay.
So I've got a question for you.
Ah!
What are your insights from having watched me work from the Caravan? What do you think you've learned from it?
Quite a bit, really. I've always been an advocate of equivalency, is the word I use. Probably a silly word looking back on it. That's probably why I'm retired now. I like to see that everybody gets a fair go, whether they're white, brown, green, whether they're male, female, or anything else. I don't care. And I certainly got more of a sense of that with your employer, that there definitely is an element of this equivalency or advocacy.
Yeah.
I think it is a shame in some respects that a lot of women's careers peak later because obviously they take time off for children, and inevitably things move on when you're off for that period of time. So any employer that can make the most of that, make the most of the, I suppose, lessons in life that women have in their late 40s, early 50s. Obviously, men do the same these days. Men take time out to look after newborn children. But I do see a lot of men, getting to the top of the ladder, but staying at the top of the ladder. A bit stale. Where I think the more we can have a diverse culture of men, women, experiences, I honestly think it makes it a better place to work for everybody, and B, I am sure employers get more out of that.
I'd hope so. I mean, I remember when I was talking about retiring, my employer saying to me that I'm at the peak of my value. I'm doing more than I've ever had before. I'm doing so much. My outputs are at a quality that they'd find hard to replace or replicate. Why would you throw away that sort of talent? Why would you throw away that experience or that sort of capability because a woman's career necessarily or unnecessarily shifts into her later years, into her 40s and 50s before she really hits her peak, really hits her strides? I just feel like it's such a waste not to fully exploit the potential of women of my age. And I'm very grateful that I get to live a partially retired life by caravanning, and in the hours that I actually work, I give 110% because of an employer that said, you are valued and we want you to stay. So,
and we don't care what colour, creed, culture, sex you are, you bring value as the person that you are.
And that means that I will work my hardest for them to succeed because they met me halfway. That's something that's special, and it shouldn't be special.
No.
So for other organizations listening, learn something from that.
Yeah.
You want to keep your people, make it easy for them. Do I recommend this life? I sure do. But for me to be able to travel with Stuart to see some amazing places like we're traveling in now, can be done.
And on that note, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully that proved both useful and mildly reassuring. If it did, leave a comment below. It's always good to know someone's been paying attention.